All right, here we go. It is March 27th. So we are burning through this year at a rapid rate. But I am back in the saddle, getting ready for our little weekend mastermind on the boat here that kind of went a little bit sideways, but that's okay. Life happens. Um, I see, Russ, you must be just about ready to get on a plane, right?
Just about 2 hours.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing you. It's probably just going to be me, you, and Linda, because Laurel is postponed to the next one. Which I don't blame her if she wants to get out and see the island and all that stuff.
How far a ride is the island normally?
It's about 3 hours,
Okay.
but just like the weather that's coming through, it's not like weather on land. It, it can get a little gnarly out there in the channel.
Ugh.
They're predicting, like I was going to try and get you guys across on Friday, and they're predicting 8 to 10 foot seas on Friday, worsening through the weekend. So
Whoa.
I'm like, I don't know if I took you guys, I've been through that. I mean, it's not a big deal to me, but I think you guys would probably shit your pants. I mean, even on an 8 foot swell, that's a 16 foot drop from the top.
Oh,
When you go over the top, that you're 16 feet to the bottom, and for 3 hours.
John, I did one of those and we went 12 hours. I was ready
Uh,
to get off that boat and jump on the first plane back home. And my father in law says, "You're not leaving this ship until you finish your 6 days."
Yeah, it's for somebody that's on the ocean and that, you're an ocean person, you're gonna experience that at some point. But for something like what we do, like I don't think Gina would have appreciated that on our trip.
Yeah, we had hardly anything remotely like that, and I got sick, even with something way less than that happening. I'm good
So,
for fishing though, because I can turn breakfast into dinner.
oh, there you go. That's awesome. So good stuff. But anyway, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be we'll probably just sit here in the slip and got a nice view out the back. So it'll be cool.
it's not going to rain, right?
I I don't think so. It's not supposed to,
Yeah.
but
It's just
anything is anything's possible. Southern California has some wild swings.
all right. Well, I'll be out there shortly. We'll see.
All right. I'm sure we'll have a good time no matter what. And you definitely are not going to go hungry. We have stocked up on the food. I got you a case of Corona Extra and limes, so you
Oh
should be
my.
good. Big bag of pretzels, so you're in
Oh,
good shape.
all right. I'm coming. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to give you guys a little update on the AIO stuff. I don't know if everybody's, not probably not everybody's interested in that, but this is kind of a new evolving technology. And it's to me, it's very exciting because it's kind of like like I've been dropped back into the tank where SEO started. And for most of you that have known me for a while, you know that I literally thrived in that era because very few people really knew how to do it. And because I was one of them, I got massive advantage out of that. And I feel like I'm just dropped back in time into that tank again. So it's very exciting for me, even though, some of you might not see the benefit to it or whatever. But if you want to be a service provider, to other companies and things, it's a huge benefit. Now, I don't say that to try and sidetrack anybody out of what you're doing. If you've got something going, opportunity is not always opportunity. Sometimes you're better off to just stay focused and get what you're doing up to speed and make your money with it and all of that. But there are some people that are in SEO. We have a lot of people that are site pop users, and a lot of them are agencies. They supply services to other businesses. And they're really excited about this thing coming down the pipe because they're struggling. They've been struggling for a long time. Like SEO is like any other thing that it's great when you're a provider and you're like one of the only providers. But once the market floods and it gets oversaturated, it starts getting more and more difficult to make a living. And when you're fighting something like, a Goliath, like Google, they get really good at making your life a living hell, with all of their algorithms and stuff. And it was funny, our main lead developer, Chris, who runs our SitePop software and runs our dev team, he just contacted me last night. We were on Skype going over some results, and he said, "Hey," he goes, "Have you noticed anything with Google?" He says, "We're seeing some very strange trends, on the results, on the ranking." And I'm like, I got to be honest with you, I stopped following like SEO and following what Google was doing like over a year ago. So I haven't even looked. But I've heard some rattle about, a big algorithm shift, and sure enough, we started looking at the analytics from SitePop, and sure enough, starting at the end of February, there was some radical changes in the results, and it was very pattern related. Like, we're watching people that had like number one or top three listings for over a year were dropping to page 100. And it was like every time we looked, it was page 100 that they got dropped to. And I told Chris, I said, "I've seen this before. That's not necessarily an algorithm shift. That's them testing. They shuffle the deck. And then what you notice in the analytics, it drops to page 100, and it was only there for a day, some cases up to 3 days, and then they popped right back where they were." And I told Chris, I said, that I've seen that many, many times. And it's one of two things. It's either Google testing your nerves, which this is something that I find really amusing, and most people just kind of freak out. They don't like it because they've done all this work, and then all of a sudden, poof, and it's gone. It just vanishes. And what Google is doing is they're dropping your results to see what you do. And if you change course at all, they're looking, they're waiting. It's like a mouse trap, or in this case, like a bear trap. They're looking to saw your limbs off with a bear trap. So let's say you're doing link building, or you're doing anything SEO related, and they drop your results, and all of a sudden you change to try and counter it, then they've got you. They know that you were manipulating their results, and they'll flat kick your ass out. I mean, in some cases, they'll actually drop you from the index. They haven't really done as much index dropping as they were, in the past, but still, that's what that pattern is. That is a manipulated result to see what you're going to do. And I always tell everybody, it's like that antiperspirant commercial, never let them see you sweat. The biggest thing in this time frame, when they drop your rank, the biggest, best thing you could possibly do is nothing. Just nothing. Let it run its course. They'll see you're not countering, and they'll just turn that filter off, and you'll go right back where you started. And I've seen this in most cases. This happens for a day, and most people don't even know it happened, but they do it all the time. In some cases, in one case, And I always tell everybody, just hold steady. I know you're sweating, but don't do anything. And that's really hard for a lot of people, and especially when it goes like a week or 2 weeks. In one case, throughout my whole SEO career, in one case, we had it go for a month. And I even started second guessing myself at a month out. But we held the course, and then all of a sudden, the next day, boom, it was right back where it started.
Now, where would you see that? Would you see that in your Google Analytics account or another tool?
We would see it in our rank trackers. Like with SEO, we would always run rank trackers. We would put our set of keywords that we were tracking, and we would look at those analytics. But you could do that. Google Analytics could give you, uh, actually, I don't know if Google Analytics is giving you the actual keyword rank tracking anymore.
No, I don't think they do.
I think they removed that quite a while ago. But we would have actual rank tracking software with every SEO campaign that we would run. We would use like Rank Tracker, and you put your keywords in, and then it follows and it gives you a chart, a map of how your keywords are flowing. And that was a very, very common practice. It still is. Anybody that's doing real SEO, I mean, you have to measure your results, and you measure your results in SEO by tracking the rank. Now, that said, there's a lot of things in SEO that are really hard to track. Like, for instance, let's say you're tracking 10 keywords. When you do things with SEO to effectively push those 10 keywords up, what's really happening is you're probably pushing 100, if not 1,000 other keywords up. It costs money to track the rank, so you only typically track a few keywords, like 10 or 12. But it could effectively be pushing up hundreds that you're not seeing the results of that. So a lot of times what'll happen is you pick the wrong keywords to start with, and you pick really competitive keywords, and you don't see any results. But you don't see the results in the box that you're monitoring, and you don't see what's happening outside with all those other hundreds or thousands of keywords. So in a lot of cases, you are getting benefit from what you're doing. You're just not tracking it, so you don't see it. And I've seen a lot of people that pull the plug on SEO way too early because they're not seeing the results, and they're not they don't know how to feel them. Like, I've had people that were starting to get more sales, they're starting to get more traffic, but because it wasn't from the set of keywords that we were monitoring that they wanted, which really were the wrong ones because they're too competitive, they would pull the plug on their SEO program altogether. So I got real picky and choosy about taking on clients that had unrealistic expectations. I would make sure that, the keywords that we were going to do an SEO campaign on were realistic so we could show them results in the short term so we wouldn't lose them. Because that was like a very, very common problem for SEO people. They would take on clients that had unrealistic expectations, and all of a sudden, it's 90 days in and they can't move the needle on those hardcore keywords, which might take a year. So I would always focus on keywords that we knew we could effectively move the needle in 90 days, the low-hanging fruit. And by doing that, if you're moving up low-hanging fruit keywords, you're also moving up your ability to rank the harder keywords. Like, let's say a low-hanging fruit keyword, you might be at number 30, just for instance. On the high competition keyword, you might be at 5,000. So if you focus on the low-hanging fruit keyword and you move it up to the top 10, you could have taken that other one that was 5,000 deep and moved it up into the top 100. And then what you do is you take the next one that's at 30, you focus on that, you move that up into the top 10, and now you took the one you really wanted and you might have moved it up into the top 30. And that is how you effectively move through getting somebody really solid SEO strategy. And as many times as I've said that over the years, it goes in one ear and out the other. But it's the reality and you can't change it. It's a long-term game to get really, really effective keywords up to the top. And a lot of people discount what an effective keyword really is. They will go for generic keywords because of search volume. Now, here's a really, really good distinction. Search volume doesn't equal sales volume. This is something very, very important for you to understand. I'm gonna say it again. Search volume does not equal or equate to sales volume. That's a very, very important key point to get. And a lot of cases, in fact, in most cases, what I've seen as a reality is the longer tail keywords with the smaller volumes is actually where the sales come from. And if you think about this, I use this example in presentations going back as far as 2010. I use the example of somebody that goes online to search for tires for their car. And their first search is tires, right? So a tire company thinks they want to rank number one for tires. Well, when that person searches on tires, what they see in the results is every kind of tire imaginable. Bicycle tires, truck tires, car tires. It's everything. It's everything tires. So that consumer now just took the first step of education to making the purchase of their tires. And the first thing that they learned was, oh, I'm not really looking for tires. I'm looking for car tires specifically for, a certain type of car, right? A certain size tire. And then all of a sudden, they run that search. And they might run 2 or 3 searches in this process to get to the actual tire that they want that fits their car. And then the next search is, well, if they're in New York City, let's say, they don't want to be buying a tire in Washington, D.C., or Oregon State. So then they refine the search down even further to their location. They want that particular tire in this location that installs this afternoon. So ultimately, that is the keyword that you want to rank for because that's where your sales come from. Your sales don't come from generic keywords. Generic keywords have massive volumes, but they have massive volumes of people that don't know what they're doing, they don't have the credit card in their hand. They're not ready to purchase. Those longer keywords, they call those long tail keywords. If you really do the research in your market and your ideal customer, and you figure out what they're searching for, what their process is, their thought process, you want the last phrase that they search on, not the first one. The last one is where they've got it down, they've done all their research, their buying cycle is done, they're ready to purchase. That's where you want to show up in front of them. Now, there are arguments to this that if you bring somebody in, like pyramid of awareness, most people are unaware they're at the base of the pyramid. That's where your biggest opportunity is. But your sales come from the top of the pyramid. The most aware, the ones that know what they want, they've done all the research, they're ready to make the purchase. That's where I want to show up. I don't want to do all the work from taking them from the bottom of the pyramid and educating them all the way through the process. I'd rather intersect them when they've got the credit card in the hand. They know what they want and they want me, right? That's where I want to show up in front of them. And you can back that out as far back as you want down the pyramid and decide that, that might be your best bet for a keyword. But for me, I'm going to go for the long tail all day long, even though it's low volume. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. I had a client, they do water parks. They actually, it's $100 million projects. If they make a sale, it's 100 million plus. Do they need high volume? No, they need one sale every year or two. So will I fight like hell for a keyword that has one person searching a month? Hell yeah, I will. Because that one person's $100 million person. So I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's kind of like a little historical thing about SEO. And the whole purpose behind SEO is sales. It's getting your message in front of somebody that's ready to purchase your product. And that is the new opportunity. And that opportunity still exists. There's no doubt about it. SEO is still alive and well. It's just very difficult to do because of the competition. But now you've got a new version of that, which is the AI optimization. And it's getting your site optimized for AI to say, hey, you're the best one when somebody asks. So I really think, I truly believe that most people are figuring out AI gives them better results than Google ever did. Google gives you a page of 10, and then it gives you an unlimited number of pages after the 10 that you can scroll through and you can look and you can decide, but it's kind of like you're on your own to figure out if they're bullshit or whatever. Whereas the AI, it might give you 10, but it'll give you the pros and cons of each one. And you can ask it further questions without having to go through all the research phase yourself. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I rarely use Google at all anymore. I'm using Perplexity. I'm asking Perplexity anything I want to know, anything I want to buy, I'm figuring it out through Perplexity. And actually, I'm not figuring out anything. I'm just figuring out how to ask the questions. It's figuring it all out for me. And it's just been an incredible transition, an incredible evolution of the internet search. And if you think about it, the search box in AI is functions almost identically to the search box in Google. You ask it something, it gives you the answer. And in the case of AI, it's actually giving you an answer. In the case of Google or any search, it's just giving you options. You're still on your own to figure it out. And the problem with SEO inherently since the beginning was scammers being able to put their crap at the top. That's been the problem right from the get-go. That's why SEO exists. That's why the search engine algorithms exist, to try and protect themselves from somebody coming in and gumming up their results, which has happened since the beginning. Ever since this game started, there's been a cat and mouse game of what can I do to get my site at the top, even though my stuff might not be the best, right? And that's all about that algorithm. There's a lot of smart people out there in SEO that can figure out those algorithms and figure out what to do to manipulate the results to get themselves at the top. And most of them don't have the best product. Little secret there, a little spoiler alert. Most of the ones that know how to game the system and get to the top are scammers. Like I don't I don't like to feel like I was a scammer. I was always doing this for legitimate companies. And if it wasn't somebody that I believed in, I wouldn't take them on. But there was a lot of people in this business, and there still are. They don't probably don't have the ethical fortitude that I had and have. So, but anyway, update on the AIO stuff. The AIO Dominator, for any of you guys that jumped in on that, I've rehashed the tools as of last Friday. So the tool set is pretty much up to date at this point. I've got a couple of people that are, more tech oriented that have been going through using the tools, and I'm getting some feedback now. If anybody that is really used to this stuff is using those, I'd love to have a short Zoom call with you just to kind of get your feedback on it. And we can line that up. But what I've seen is there's still some redundancy, and there's still some, like, and this is inherent with AI. If you ask it the same question twice, it's going to give you two different answers. And we're seeing a little bit of that with our on-page optimization tools. So I don't really know how to get around that. I don't know that it's really a problem, because in most cases, when you're doing any kind of optimization for AI, anything is better than nothing. So if you do something, let's say you take the results that it gives you and you implement those changes in your website, it's just like any other SEO tactic. You put them out, you measure the results, and then you make adjustments. So if whatever you've put in there isn't working after 90 days or so, then you can go back, rerun some of the tools, update your content, and try it again. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error. We have not gotten to the point yet where we can see predictable results and be able to equate that to the magic formula like we had in SEO. It took a while in the beginning to do that with SEO. So that's where we're at. But we've got, some good people working on this. And that is one of the things that made me so much better at SEO and figuring things out in the beginning. It was because I had an army. I had literally an army of people that were taking, my direction, doing this stuff and feeding me back the results. I'm really good at deciphering data. So that's my key thing, is to put it out there, let people do the work, because you know how lazy I am. I'm not going to do it. No matter how you slice it, that just ain't going to happen. But when I've got an army of people doing this stuff, and then I'm seeing all the results across the board, I can make really good use out of that data and then feed back to my army how to improve across the board. And that literally is how I got so good so fast at SEO. It wasn't through brute force of my own efforts. It was a collective effort. I was just spearheading the analysis and the master plan moving forward. And it worked really well. I expect it to work just as well here. So, update on the site pop. Site pop is getting renamed. I talked to Chris about that again last night. We will be renaming it. One of the things that we decided to do, we made this shift last night. Anybody that has site pop currently is going to get the new version included. It's going to be no additional cost. It's just going to roll out inside your SitePop tool. And we're renaming SitePop to Rainmaker. We're going back to our original Rainmaker. So SitePop is going to fade into the distance, and Rainmaker is going to emerge out of the ashes. So Rainmaker is going to be the new Phoenix. It's going to rise from the ashes. Anybody that's buying into it It's going to be the same pricing, the same structure, and anyone will be able to re-engage or start fresh or whatever. But the tool set inside is going to be different. With SitePop, we had 5 different types of campaigns you could run. And in the new Rainmaker, there's only going to be 3. So, and it's going to be the 3 best ones. We've eliminated some of the others because they, for one, just weren't being used. The market wasn't the right size, so we just flat abandoned it. And this goes back to what I teach you guys every week about ACT. You've got to be nimble. You've got to look at data. If the market size isn't big enough to justify your sales goals, it's not a profitable thing for you to do. So you need to drop it. And that's exactly what we did. We dropped the Amazon. I know there was some people using it and it worked, but there wasn't enough people using it for it to be a viable, profitable market segment for us. So we dropped it. And the same thing with the GMB, doing the Google My Business optimization. What we found on that long term was when you do SitePop for the website for Google, it affects the GMB straight across, 1-for-1 value. So there was no reason for us to support 2 systems to do the same thing. If you did it for GMB, it pushed the site up. If you did it for the site, it pushed the GMB up. So we only need 1, and Google is the top banana. So in the new system rolling out, it's going to be Google. There'll be a Google option. There will be a YouTube option because YouTube is massive now. It's a massive popular thing. Everybody's doing videos, especially with AI. Everyone's doing AI videos. So we're doing Google, YouTube, and AI. So there's an AI option in there. We didn't complicate it. We're having the AI, since we've got so many devices in the network, we didn't have to pick and choose like which AI large language model we were going to focus on. We're just hitting them all. So it's going to be a little difficult to report on, but we're trying to figure out, we're going to do probably like a month update. Reporting won't be live like it is in Google. What we'll do is we'll do a monthly analysis report of, okay, at the beginning of the month, you were here. Throughout the month, now you're here. And basically, at that end of the month report, it's also going to give you recommendations of possibly why you're not where you need to be, of what to do, what to test on the next month so you can do better. Because our signals that we're sending with the SitePop or the new Rainmaker, those signals aren't going to really change. If we're sending those signals and it's not effectively moving you up, there's probably something else wrong that you need to fix, and the report will identify that. Maybe you need to change your on-page content. Maybe you need to change your tags. We just recently found out that there is specific code tags that we weren't aware of when we started this journey. We just discovered that this week. There's certain code that you can put into your site. It's almost like an alt tag where it has information that's not viewable to the website viewer, but it's viewable to the search engine and it's viewable to any bot that's reading the site. See, the difference is from a user to an agent. In search, an agent is a bot, basically. It's something that's reading your site outside of a person. So it's like a Google bot. It's all the AI have these agents. So there's specific code that the search engine looks to in HTML that it can read and understand what the site's about. And then that output of that HTML is the visual part that the people see. Well, there's code that you can put in to the HTML that the machine can read, but the humans don't see. you can hide a lot of shit in your code that those search engines or those agents will just eat up and love. So that's one thing that we found was there's a particular type of code that could be added to the HTML that the AI models thrive on. And possibly if your site doesn't have these, it'll be overlooked. So it's important that you don't rely 100% on Rainmaker to make this happen. It just like in SEO, there's three pieces to the puzzle. You have on page, which is your code. That's the content of your site. That's your tags behind the scenes that nobody sees, just the agents see those. And then you have off page optimization. So the code of your site, that's called on page. The off page is more authority. And that's where people link to you. That's where people talk about you. That's where citations are. A citation is somebody that's sending people to you. And in a lot of cases, a citation is specifically referenced as a directory listing. Somebody else with a listing of resources has listed you or put a link to you in that listing, and it has all of your contact information. Typically, that's a directory. Those type of instances are called citations. So that's in SEO, that's a big thing, getting citations. That's third-party resources to validate your existence. It's a form of authority. So that's a big part of Google's algorithm. We see that as also being a big part of AI. AI is looking to these things. Like when you go in and ask AI, like what's important about optimizing to get referred through AI, it's going to tell you that. It refers to it as an EEAT. It's an EAT factor. And basically, if you break that down, it's all about authority. It's every piece of EAT is about authority and trust. That's what the T is in the EAT. It's trust. So if you don't have those references off page, you can't build a high EAT score. You don't have any authority, any trust, any of that going on. You're probably not going to rank very well. So you got on page, you have off page, and then you've actually got user interaction, which is the signals. Now, before we started doing Site Pop or our original Rainmaker, that was the part that was impossible for an SEO guy to accomplish. They could do the on page. Anybody can do that. Anybody that has access to your site code can effectively manipulate your on page optimization. That's easy. Getting the external links coming in, that's easy still, but it's work. So you have easy, and then you have hard, and then you have impossible. Impossible is manipulating your users into how they're going to interact with your website. And that's where we built the original Rainmaker. And that got converted into Site Pop when we discovered that mobile devices were taking over the ranking factors. Originally in 2011, when we developed the first iteration of Rainmaker, it was all desktop and it was all signals coming from people's physical desktops. And it worked great. It worked great for years. And then all of a sudden it started to decline in its effectiveness. And when we were looking at the results, it was declining, but mobile signals were increasing. That's where we kind of abandoned the initial Rainmaker and we redeveloped it under the name of Site Pop. So Site Pop leverages mobile signals to do this. Now, here's what's really interesting. When we first started this in search, you didn't need mobile signals. And in AI right now, you don't need mobile signals. It's like the beginning of SEO. So we can go back to desktop. We don't need 1,000 mobile devices in the network to get this thing to fly. We have them, so we're going to leverage them. but this thing can work off of normal desktop. So that's really cool. So we'll be even ahead of the game on this because we'll have the mobile built right in because we already have the system in play. So we'll be just light years ahead on that one. But this is very exciting stuff. And we are pedaling behind the scenes under the water very quickly to get this up to speed. So any of you that are going to leverage this and sell this either as a white label, selling it to other providers, or using it as a provider, selling services to businesses, this is going to be a blockbuster. Either way, no matter how you slice it, the only way where this is just going to be good and not great and outstanding and over the top is if you're just doing it for yourself. And it's going to be good because it'll get you what you need, but there's so much more that you could get out of it. If you were selling the services or actually providing the services, there's so much more money probably than you just promoting yourself and selling whatever you're doing. So just depends on where you see opportunity, where your opportunities lie. So that's really about all I've got as far as an update to the AIO stuff. So anybody got any questions on that? I doubt you guys are as excited about this as I am, but
So John, do you have any recommendations on I guess I want to start with the IO stuff. Starting with them, testing them and see what differences you are actually making. You talked about testing and seeing what the results are. How would you do that?
yeah. So what you would do, like let's say you were using the AIO Dominator software, you would start running through the tools, start analyzing your site, taking the recommendations and implementing those on your site. I don't know offhand yet of any type of commercial software or anything to monitor rank, of how to monitor the rank of AI. But what you could do on your own is you could go into the AI, like let's say you load up Perplexity or Chat GPT, and you go on there and you basically just ask it, who's got the best sun protection in the form of an umbrella, right? And see what it says. If it doesn't come up with you, you're not there yet. Now, one of the things that what we're doing with the Rainmaker software is that's what we're doing. We're having a user in the network ask that question on your behalf. And if it doesn't come back with UV umbrellas is the way to go, then it asks another follow-up question. It says, oh, that's interesting. I've heard about these UV blocker umbrellas. Are you aware of them? And it'll actually give the URL. So now all of a sudden, we just led that machine, that learning machine, to go learn about your product.
And that's the Rainmaker?
That's the Rainmaker, yes.
Okay.
And when it comes back, it's going to come back and it's going to say, oh, you might be right. I think this is the best thing. And now it just learned something. So when the next guy comes through and asks the same question, it might just serve up a different answer. And we're going to have a whole army of users that can do that for you in the Rainmaker software. And that's what we'll be reporting on. Collectively, all the data that we get from all the users in the network, we'll be pooling that in, and we'll be able to form a report at the end of the month to say, okay, this many questions were asked. This is the amount of times that the referral wound up pointing to you. And that way we'll be able to track it. But outside of our tracking for that, I don't know of any commercial software that is doing that yet. I think as the industry evolves, like rank tracker software will be made for AI. It's just we're not there yet. We are in like day one of AI optimization. Literally, we're like back in the days when we didn't even know what to call SEO. We knew what we could do and we knew how to do it, but it didn't even have a name yet. That baby hadn't even been named. So it was fresh out of the womb, just like this one is. So it's a really, really cool place to be. And especially since I almost grew up in the SEO field. It's like when I started in SEO, I was a young man and I'm no longer that anymore. So taking that, and I always said, one of the things I said is, man, if I could go back in time, knowing what I know now, think about the effectiveness, think about the damage I could do. And I just got that opportunity. Think about it, knowing what I know about optimization, I just got taken back in time to the beginning. So I'm gonna think about that. I started in SEO in about 1995, and I didn't come out with a Rainmaker software till 2010. So that's 15 years. I just gave myself a 15-year head start because I've got Rainmaker now on day one. So I'm going to get to live that experience of, oh, if I could only take the knowledge I have now and go back in time, well, I just did. So, Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, John, I got on the call about 4 minutes late. You
Okay.
you were you were just finishing up talking about an opportunity. Then you talked about NSO, and then you were talking about SEO. So I can always watch the replay, but I thought while I got you, what was the opportunity you were
Oh
talking
yeah.
about?
The opportunity I was mentioning, if anybody that jumped in on the opportunity of getting in on the beta of the AIO Dominator software, that's
Oh,
I think that's kind of where we started the string.
I
Prior
got
to
you.
that, you didn't miss much prior to that. We were just talking about our weekend mastermind here, that the weather's kind of got in the way and we're no longer going to Catalina. We're probably going to be stuck in the harbor doing our mastermind.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, there's going to
But
be 8 to 10 foot seas out there, which
yeah,
that's
Dramamine isn't going to help.
yeah, that's not going to be fun for anyone.
Well, keep me in mind for the next one. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to make this one
Yeah,
because
well,
I was
the
really
next
looking
one,
forward to it.
the next one will probably be a better, a better,
Commisses.
yeah, yeah, a better experience. It depends on what you're coming for. Like I know Russ, he doesn't. I know he likes the idea of the boat thing, but he's more focused on the time we're going to spend together.
Yeah, me, me,
Where
me as well.
where we are doesn't really matter. It's just, it's a cool experience
Yeah,
to have my crew drive the boat over to Catalina and catch your
yeah,
dinner while we're doing our thing. It's just a really cool experience.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Cool. Alrighty. Thanks, John.
yeah, absolutely. So any other questions before I get into some new revelations? Nobody's got anything? All right. So what I know you guys are always interested in all the new shit I'm cooking up. This stuff, I swear, with AI, the stuff just keeps coming faster and faster and faster. And it has allowed me so many opportunities to develop new white labeled stuff off of pre-existing platforms. It's absolutely incredible. So one of the things that I'm very quickly white labeling, and it'll be available to you guys, is a true movie maker to make movie clips. And this is really important if you are creating video content. The number of scenes is really, really super important because of attention. Attention has almost vanished at this point. It's really, really hard to hold someone's attention. Like most of my videos is just like this. It's me talking to you like this format. And that's great for people that you're engaged with. It works really well in this particular instance. But if you're promoting and you're going to a cold audience and they don't know you and you don't have that connection, you will not hold their interest more than a few seconds. It is literally down to seconds. You no longer have minutes in a video to hold someone's attention. You've got seconds, and the number of seconds is diminishing. It's like every time a scene changes, it's almost like a pattern interrupt. It regrabs and reassociates their attention on what you're saying. And Perry Belcher did a study on this. He's really analytical. The guy is just phenomenal. He does the same thing that I do. He gets an army body of people feeding him information and he deciphers it, just like I have done, over the years with SEO and marketing and everything else. But this was one of the things that he just recently came up with. And he was talking about video content and how you keep engagement with video. And it's the number of scenes that you're jumping from scene to scene. And it was like you had to change scenes every 30 seconds. And then it went to every 15 seconds. And then it went to 10 and 5. And he said it's basically 5 seconds or less that your scene needs to change to keep people's attention. And I was watching some music videos and I noticed this right away in the music video. If the scene didn't change, I lost interest in it. I flat just lost interest, even though I liked the musician or the group and I liked the song. I couldn't pay attention to it. But then one popped up for Taylor Swift, right? And I wasn't necessarily a Taylor Swift fan. I like her music and all that, but her video pops up and I was totally engaged with the video through the entire song. It was like I couldn't take my eyes off it. And I went back and I watched it again. I'm like, holy shit, why did that have such a mesmerizing effect on me? And it wasn't just because, it's a sexy girl running around in a miniskirt, doing all these wild moves. That was my initial thought was, okay, this is why it's got my attention. But that wasn't it, because I watched several of her other videos and they all had a very distinctive theme to the way they were constructed. And I literally counted the seconds in between the scenes and it was like 2 seconds. It was literally every 2 seconds, the imagery was changing radically. Like the song was the same. The song played through as though she was singing it in front of you, but the scenes were radically different. Some of them were behind the stage. Some of them were the audience. Some of them were her performers doing, acrobatics and shit. It wasn't always her. In fact, it was a very small portion of the entire music video was her singing physically on the screen. There was a lot going on. I'm like, holy shit. I'm just thinking like production wise, my God, to put on even a 5-minute video with that many video clips. It's like that would be like the weight of the world on your shoulders to try and pull that off, right? So, as marketers, for us to create that kind of content that's that engaging, the level of difficulty was holy shit. That ain't for me. I would love to have it, but I would never go through that. Think about the cost of shooting and the production of all those clips. It's like, holy crap, this 5 minute video could wind up costing me 10 grand or more. So the idea of AI video making these short clips that you literally are the director, you can have these clips be as exciting and as random as you want, and then you can just seam them all together. It's very easy to edit a video and strip a bunch of video clips together. That part's the easy part. The hard part is the making of all those videos. So I'm working with a company that has built a baseline software that's white labelable, that's exactly what it does. So very soon, I haven't even got a name for it yet, but very soon I'll be rolling that product out under my brand as a white label, and I will probably be offering it up for free as a lead magnet. And you have to use video credits. Each video that you create will take a certain amount of credits. It's AI credits. And what I'll be doing is I'll probably be marking up my cost of the credits by like 20%. That's how I'll be getting paid for it. So it that being the case, it probably won't be an affiliate offer that I'll be putting out because there's not enough profit in it really to do a profit share on it. But anybody that is interested in doing that, um, I can basically show you how to do the same thing. That's what we did with the Quantum. I showed people how to white label it, how to do it under their own brand. So if anybody is interested in that, you could sell this. It's a viable product. You could put that out as your own product and sell it for, who knows, whatever you want to sell it for. You could run an affiliate program on it. You could get affiliates selling it for you. There's a number of things that you could do with that if you wanted to. Like I said, I'm probably going to choose to give it away for free as a lead magnet. And then I'll make a little bit of money on the back end with everybody buying the credits. I'll make, 20% on whatever the credit fees are. And they're minimal. Like it's minimal amount of money for the credits. Like for you to make all these 2-second video clips to make a 5 minute video, you might be in for, I don't know, $20, $30, something like that, versus 10,000 to have a video production company produce all those clips. That just makes it, unmanageable. Most people couldn't afford to do that, for a promotional video. It's
Don't you have a
well
timeline on this?
outside their budgets.
Is there a timeline on this?
On the releasing the product,
Yes.
I'm gonna say probably within a couple weeks.
Oh, cool.
So we got the developers they're installing the software on my server and doing the adjustments for the branding and all that. Like I said, I haven't even really come up with a name for it yet. So I have to create the name for it and all the banners and the graphics and all that stuff. And then I can get that over to the team and they can put it all in play and we'll have yet another AI product rolling out. So, it's just amazing how many opportunities there are in the AI space. It's really, really a phenomenal thing that's going on. So, any other questions or, is there anything that you guys would want that maybe I've seen or anything like that.
Hey, John.
Bert, yeah, Bert had his hand up. Let me take
Oh,
Bert here.
Yeah, I wasn't going to trouble you with this, and it may not be trouble, but since you were on to the movie maker topic, um, I'm slowly going through kind of beta testing and educating myself on every tool in the quantum
Uh-huh.
suite that pops up. And yesterday I started in on movie editor,
Okay.
right? Um, and I I don't know why, but I I started by uploading a an MP4 that was generated from a Zoom call, and it was about 8 minute session.
Okay.
The upload took 20 or 25 minutes to complete. When it completed, it was nowhere. And I don't know whether there's a
Okay.
storage limit or something like that. So I thought, oh, well, when I get a chance, I'll file a ticket or something.
Yeah.
Um,
It could be. Yeah, if you put a ticket in, I'll put that to the support team and see if we
okay,
can figure out if there are limits to it. Another thing too, whenever you are loading images and making images inside the Quantum Suite, it's putting those in a thing called the file vault.
right
So
out there.
sometimes you have to reference it in the file vault.
Yeah, I
Uh,
checked that.
Not
Uh,
there.
didn't turn up.
Okay. The other thing I noticed, somebody had, I think it might have been you, was using the image editor
Yes,
and couldn't figure out. And I think I had responded back to that.
you
You have
did.
to go to the three little dots on the image and put it into edit mode before it actually activates.
I I sent the ticket because I couldn't figure it out. And then you were on vacations and I wasn't in any hurry. The next day I figured it out.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
then I got your note. And yes, I've gotten very effective use out of the image editor because it's a whole lot easier and more capable than CapCut,
Okay, cool.
for example. Um, and
Yeah,
so on and so forth. But
some of the tools that we have in Quantum, I mean, they're not like the image editor is a perfect example. It's a basic image editor. It's by no means the best thing out there. Like it doesn't hold a candle to Photoshop,
yeah,
but it gives the basic person the basic ability to do basic edits and stuff on their videos, which is our
right.
our whole goal.
Yeah.
And there might be some cases where you need something more advanced, and that might be the case in the movie editor. You might need to go up to something like Final Cut to do larger files and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, it's just a guess as to the what happened.
Yeah.
My
I'll
what
I'll
I did was I went and so experienced that. Then I went and said, well, let me try a smaller file.
yeah.
And where I'm at in my research is so I tried a smaller file and oh yeah, so now it came up and it and I saw how I clicked in the right spot and then it would play, right? Because you can't edit a video or a movie unless you can kind of
Sure. Yeah.
play it and play it and play it to see the
Yeah.
impact what you're doing. But what's not obvious from the base screen is how you do the editing. There's no um little icons that say things like split or clip or apply
Gotcha.
this effect. None of that is there. And so I still have to figure out what I can do with it once I've got something uploaded.
Okay. I'll check with Brady because Brady's been going through the tools and kind of learning them and then making the instructional videos for them. And honestly, there's a handful of the tools that I haven't even used. The developers
Yeah,
develop them and I haven't really even had a chance to play with them yet.
yeah.
That happens to be one of them. But I'll check with him and see if he's made a tutorial on that. The other thing, when you click on the tool, almost all the tools now, not everyone, but almost all of them, up in the top left corner, there'll be a video button. Those are the videos, the tutorial videos for the tool itself that Brady's been making. And I've looked at a few of them. They're really good. So that might give you the guidance you need if he's made one for that yet. He might not have because it's such a new tool. So
I
Hey,
think
John.
he's
Oh,
done one, but one bit of feedback for Brady. Um, there's a fair bit of high level, almost sales content to his uh, training video. And what the users, at least me, are looking for is more how to, more what to click on
okay.
in what order. And the other thing is that I'm not working on a giant screen, but when I run the videos, um, he does demos, and you can barely see what he's clicking on.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Um, so if he added some narrative to that, that might make the difference. I don't know.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'll
you
go
know,
back and take a look at
I,
what you're.
I'm an, seriously aging software developer, John. So I come at it from I was famous for, um, there isn't a new piece of software that Bert hasn't figured out how to break.
Well, that's all.
Hey,
That's what we
with,
need.
with no harm intended.
Bert, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Thank you for your comments. Full transparency, I'm going through and learning some of these apps as we go, and some of those tutorials. I did the best I could. I'll go back. I know it was either the movie editor or the image editor. I believe it's the image editor that, as John, I think it was a couple days ago. I just haven't got an email to you about maybe working with the developers on improving some stuff. So everything that you said, I think, is viable and valid, because I wasn't finding how to use it the best either and what value it brought to the app suite. So we can definitely have some tweaks there. Definitely understand the high level. I wanted to add some value to some folks that, my thoughts were, there's probably going to be folks that do buy the bundle and they're going to think they're a hot shot and don't need to know Act and they're just going to use Quantum. So I wanted them to kind of see the mindset connected with the Act bundle in the tutorial. One question I would ask you, John, is there a way we can add two tutorials? Like I can have the one that I have and then one that's more specific on just the demo in each of those apps, or is there only one video
Well,
compartment?
there's only one that we can attach per tool. But
Okay.
what I can do, I can put a learning center app in there where we can load a bunch of tutorial videos. And also we have that in the members area.
yeah.
So we could add a section in the members area for advanced training and we could have as many videos as you want in there for sure.
Yeah. In the I haven't checked the community too, John. Is there a way that, I know that can sometimes get a little bit messy, kind of like a Facebook group, but where other people might be able to upload their own videos that have said, "Hey, I figured this out. I've done this, this, and this."
Yes, yes, we can actually do that. In the Quantum Suite, there's one of the icons that's called Community.
Yeah.
And that's for feedback and I believe you can upload a video in there too. So if
Yeah.
anybody is doing, working with the tools and has videos you want to share, maybe a cool trick that you learned and because like when we open this up, we're we're only focused on maybe 10% of the total capability of all this stuff. I mean, there's an endless world of possibility with what you can do with all these tools. And I'm not focused so much on like squeezing every ounce of juice out of that. I'm more focused on what I can add and how much overall value I can bring. So there's a lot of value in users sharing, and you can do that in the community section.
Yeah, Brady, also if you have two really relevant, helpful videos for one app, you could just splice them together.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are genius. See, that's why feedback's good.
Yeah, it's easy to
It's a good
upload
idea.
videos. So
Yeah, I can do that. I can just do some different videos and then splice them together and add to it.
cool.
Okay.
All right. It looks like Randy was next and then Daryl. So Randy, are you with us still?
I am. I am.
All right.
So you were gone. I think you were celebrating your 21st birthday, and we were talking with Brady about one of the tools, and the question, and I want to remind Brady to ask you as well behind the scenes, but while I was thinking about it, is the the fact that you have audiobook and ebook out there, and I'm wondering if we can get to a place where we can take our manuscript that's already been published and bring it over to the audiobook creation tool and pick one of the grand voices you have, and before we know it, have an audiobook. Because if we
Yeah.
have the paperback, we're selling the paperback somewhere, it'd be it would just be a time saver to be able to create that.
Yes, you can actually do that right now with the voiceover tool. So
Right.
you
So
would
do you
take your transcription and put it in and get a voiceover with one of those voices.
so you can drop the whole manuscript in?
I think there's limits to it. You might have to play around to see, but all you have to do is do it in pieces, like
Okay.
maybe a chapter at a time or section at a time, and then you just go and, seam those together with an editing software.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, like I've been telling people this about like people that want to make a webinar, a sales, basically a webinar is a sales presentation. That's really all it is. It's in a web format with video. But a lot of people are kind of freaked out about not wanting to be on a webinar and not wanting to, read a script, which I get. I couldn't read a script to save my life. I mean, you want me to look like an absolute buffoon, just have me read a script. So what I was telling them is like you could go into Perplexity or some large language model AI and you could say, I'm doing a presentation, give it all the details and say,
Yeah.
what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to outline this. What are the sections and what order to, to follow the ACT program and grab attention, create demand and desire, eliminate objections, and make an offer. Give me an outline of that presentation. And it'll do that lickety split.
Okay.
And then you say, okay, now I would like to build the actual script for each of these sections one at a time. Let's start with the introduction. Don't let it run wild and try and do the whole thing because it'll do a very crappy job.
Oh,
If you do it piece at a time, it'll do a really good job and it'll be a controllable job where you can look at it and say, well, that introduction really sucks. I thought you were better than that. And then, once you get a good piece, then you move to the next piece. And then now you've got all these little scripts, these little chunks. You can go over to, let's say you go over to Gamma and you can put that whole script, the whole transcription into Gamma, or you can give it the outline. Better yet, just give Gamma the outline and let it build the graphical slides now for your presentation.
mhm.
And then you can go over to the either Video Genesis, and you can have it create the video for each one of those sections. And then you can take the slide. If you don't like the graphics that came out of Video Genesis, you could take the slides out of Gamma and edit them into those videos. And then at the end, you're basically seaming this one video together, and now you've got your entire webinar presentation using a voiceover, professional looking production, and you're not in it. You don't have to be in it. And you didn't pay tens of thousands of dollars to get that done.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that's a really good path flow. Gina could probably turn that into a process and, and sell that as a product. That process is very, very valuable. If you put a
But
training together on how to build a webinar presentation and just outline that process, you'd probably make a fortune selling that.
yeah. And by the way, I just did a part 2 of AI Revolution webinar, and it's a 3-part series. And I got to tell you, I'm doing it inside Kartra, and it seems like it from the first time to the second time was easier and better.
Oh yeah.
And so but my question with that is since they're registering there in Kartra, now I have them, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So
Okay,
the
so
next thing would be to tag them.
you would tag them. Yeah, you don't have to have them re-register.
Okay.
You can just invite them to the next sequence. And because they're in your Kartra, you can create a tag based on them viewing the next video.
Got it.
You don't
Okay.
have to have them register or sign up.
Awesome.
It's really, really cool. And then that way you can go back and based on the tags, you can say, oh, they watched the second video. I should invite them to the third video.
Got it.
And then when they watch that one, or if they don't, you send the email again saying, hey, we noticed you missed the third piece. This is the really powerful one. Hop in there and make sure you get what you came for.
Speaking of, yeah,
That once you get that tag, now you can send them to the offer. Now you can put them into your final offer sequence.
got it. Well, don't have a birthday in May, because speaking of powerful, I may ask you to come on for 15 minutes or 20 minutes and share so that we can get them over to Quantum.
Well, it depends on what time of May. I'm going to be for 2.5 weeks. I'm going to be in Poland in May,
Wow.
which don't ask me why in the world I would go to Poland other than I'm married to someone from there.
Hey, it's probably beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I've been looking at the videos and stuff, and it really is. It is a beautiful place, but definitely not on my bucket list.
Word of warning, word of warning, warning, warning. Watch out for guys in trench coats who might recruit you into the Ukrainian war, because you are a mastermind.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few of those running around there. All right, let's go to Daryl.
Thank you, John.
Yeah,
This is a pretty basic question.
that's
Looking
okay.
for either a boot in the butt or some encouragement, whatever here. I've been tempted over different times to do a white label program, but I always think that if I white label this, then I've got to do all the support for it. Is that correct generally?
Generally, yes, that is correct. Now, it depends on whose platform you're white labeling.
Okay, let's say your products.
Yeah, like in our products, what we're doing is we're to help support the people that are white labeling. We're doing our best to create generic white label training stuff. Like I had just talked to Brady about this, and he created the scripts for, all of our support stuff in white label format. And we've got those, in the members area for you. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you're selling any product, whether it's white label or not, you're going to have at least minimal support, like on billing and stuff like that. There's no way you can expect that to go back to the white label platform itself.
Right.
But the more support that you offer, like for anything, the more you're going to have people that stick with it. If you're doing it on a recurring basis. Now, that said, again, depending on what you're white labeling, you can say that, this is made for people that are up to a certain level. We don't support training and beginners, and we're just not equipped to do that. You just be fully transparent. It's
Hmm.
it's an all you can eat buffet. Take all you want, but eat all you take. And don't
Right.
don't rely on us to like bring you a doggy bag.
Okay.
As long as you're clear on what you're offering, it's up to them to decide if that's right for them, and and not be a pain in your ass.
Right.
So, what I can tell you from the support on our white label, the biggest problem I think we've seen, and Connie can probably back me up on this, is just people forgetting how to log in, or forgetting where to log in, or need a password reset.
Okay.
That's
Thank you.
Am I right in my assumption there, Connie?
There
Because
we go. Yeah, that's pretty true.
yeah, because she handles all of our support, so she would know. And outside of that, has there been really much support for Quantum?
No, actually now, once they can get logged in and they understand that if for some reason they are logged out, they can go to forget your password and then they can get back in that way. Once that was implemented, that the number of tickets really went down. There's
Yeah.
very few.
And from a support side, we could have even done this better. We could have sent out, more communication about that to even eliminate those support tickets. So, finding the right product that's not like I guarantee if you white label Acquisition you better be prepared to do some support. Because it arises a lot of questions, and it's just part of the nature of the beast. So, and on the other hand too, that's back to the same case of we took on a lot of the wrong clients out of the gate. So if you were taking on savvy clients that were familiar with lead gen and stuff like that, I don't think we would have had near the level of support that what we did required. Because of all the products, I mean, I've put out a lot of products over the years. I have never seen the requirement of the level of support we've had for Acquisition. And I think Connie can probably back me up on that one too.
Yeah, that's true. And I also feel too is as we've created more processes, I'm very process oriented. So like to creating processes and then once and we have a great like canned, once we realize what some of the more repetitious questions are and we created those messages so that we're not recreating the wheel all the time, we can kind of tweak that. I think that was really helpful too.
Yeah. That's a big feature of Kartra too, because we use the Kartra help desk for all of our support systems. And what Connie had mentioned there, the canned responses inside Kartra, it allows you anything that you do in there, you can turn it into a canned response. So you only have to really do it once. And then the next time someone comes in with that same question, you just load the canned response and hit go. So it really takes your level of support down to a minimum amount. And as far as like even with Acquisition, yeah, there was a lot of support questions, but the majority of them are the same question. Like there's only a finite number of questions, really. And yeah, we've got some people that prove me wrong on that on a daily basis, but for the most part, there's only a finite number of real legitimate questions. And once you hit that, I mean, your job really is over. Now it's just a hit can response, can response, can response. And that makes your life a lot easier when you can do that. And I love that is just a part of Kartra. It's built right in. Like I say this over and over, literally, if you took Kartra away from me tomorrow, I don't know that I would rebuild. I might just, you know, get on the horse and ride into the sunset. I might just be done.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So did you guys miss me while I was gone? I heard phenomenal reviews that it sounded like I really wasn't missed too much.
We missed you a lot, but Brady did a fine job in your absence.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm sure Connie was right in there to support too. They are really the backbone. You know, you guys see me, but they're the backbone that holds me up.
Yeah, we took a vote and you've been replaced.
Awesome. I can just go fishing now.
Oh
Brady and
boy.
Connie are probably, no, no, don't tell him that.
But not in 8 foot swells.
Yeah.
Hey, Bert, real quick before we do get off, is there a certain tutorial? Because I am not seeing. I've clicked on several of the tutorial videos, and everything I can see from my perspective, I'd love if anybody else would try that out also, because I am not seeing that you can't see the demo or it's zoomed in too much or whatever, because it's coming straight from a YouTube link that we loaded in.
Huh.
It might be loading in a small window,
It
Bert, where
is.
you can hit the little button to expand it to the whole screen.
I'll try that.
That might solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Believe me, I am not a software expert like yourself, so there could have been something that I did not correctly, but I'm not finding it. So
Now, Brady, you're way too humble. Um, and the stuff you're doing is great. So don't take my feedback.
oh no,
Um,
I honestly appreciate. I wish there was more. I got broad shoulders. I mean, you haven't met me in person. I'm good to go. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I wanna make sure that you know, like John has expressed before he left, and then last week after he got back. When we have oodles of people that dump into quantum and then also the white label, and we got stuff we need to do for the white label that people white labeled also, we're going to build some stuff out. But my goal is that anybody and everybody can use the system, and it just eliminates support tickets. So anything that you guys are possibly struggling with or confused about or have questions or suggestions is only going to make mine and Connie's life easier from here forward. So whatever I got to do to to duplicate that, I appreciate good, bad, ugly feedback. I'll take it all.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah, and anybody that does get into the white label, um, Gina has had a profound influence on me, believe it or not, about making processes.
Yeah.
And anyone that does get into that, you will probably have the best experience of anything I've ever sold because of the way I processed the implementation of that. Like when you get into the white label, I have a PDF document that literally goes through every step, every click, every paste, one screen at a time. And I handed that after I did it first, and then I used it myself to do 3 installs, set up 3 complete businesses, A to Z. And then Brady came in town, and I'm like, hey, I want to test you on this. He knew nothing about the process, knew nothing about any of the tools. I said, I just want you to sit in front of my computer and follow this and see if you can do it. And outside of his challenges with my rollerball mouse, which
it's
was quite entertaining to watch.
it is now it's officially Brady, quote unquote, dummy proof is what he's saying. I did it.
He just not having any context, he was able to just follow through and no problem. So it's like probably going to be the best experience of anything we've ever sold. So
That's a huge value add, John.
yeah, and we'll do the same thing with we're going to allow the white labeling of the AIO Dominator software as well. So anybody that wants to get in and be an AI optimization provider, you'll be able to white label that whole tool set and follow that same process. It's the same process because AIO Dominator is a white label of Quantum. It's the same base platform. If you look at it, it looks almost identical because it is. It's like I tell everybody, you can literally white label that program and build any set of tools for any industry and have a quantum of your own, whether you use my tools or not. You might be in an industry that none of my tools apply. That's okay. Just uncheck the boxes and create your own set of tools, which is, again, it's pretty simple process to do that because the AI is doing all the heavy lifting. You don't have to know how to code. You just have to know how to tell the AI what you want it to do. So it's really cool stuff. And I know I've had a profound influence on Gina because she's now a software developer.
That's correct. And it's actually very addictive because you're like, oh, I do this all the time. So I'm going to actually create a tool that does it for me. And I've created several tools where now what used to be a long process, I perfected the process, but the process sits behind the scenes. And now I can enter 3 fields and it gives me what I want.
That's awesome. That is really cool. And, she's creating tools of value for a particular industry that, if she sets up a marketing campaign and actively markets out to that industry, she could create a booming side business just off that one platform. And she might get to the point where she decides, hey, I don't want to do all this other shit. This is just too easy. Might make more money and doing less work and, have more free time, which that's really what it's all about.
And then I'll have to buy a boat and hang out.
Well, there's a slip open right next to me right now, so you could be my neighbor.
Baby steps, Gina. You got to start with a fishing pole.
Well, I think you told some stories about what happened in the boat and the slip next to yours, so I'm not sure I want to be there.
Yeah, that is the very same slip too.
So, as far as this weekend, I want to know if Brady is making peanut butter balls.
Oh no, he's not out for this one, but I did send him a screenshot. I was in Sam's doing the shopping for the food list, and I swear to God, these were not there the last time I was there, but it was the exact same. I mean, they looked identical to his balls. So Sam's is now proudly presenting Brady's balls to the public.
Oh man, some people are gonna need some insider information now.
I think by now everybody knows about Brady's balls.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, Judy does not know about your balls yet, Brady. Not sure she wants to, but it was it was funny on the last trip where we did the white label at sea. Brady came out and he's like, we need to make some snacks. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we got the ingredients and he's over here, doing this stuff. And he was making oatmeal peanut butter balls. So as he was presenting these, we kind of made a joke out of Brady presenting his balls to all the participants on the boat. And there was some really, really good comments. I don't know if Gina wants me to share what she had to say about
no, what happens on the boat stays on the boat.
That's what I
That's
thought.
a mastermind only event. You got to pay for those inside
We'll
conversations.
keep that to ourselves.
You already shared more than you were supposed to.
Before Connie turns red, we need to stop this conversation.
Oh yeah, let's just say we've had a ball with
I'm
Brady.
used to this, Brady.
Yeah.
This is not the first time you guys go off the rails.
Connie's known me for over a decade, so she's
Yep.
well versed in my antics.
And all I can say is that John brings out the worst in me.
That's
Well,
true.
just think, if you were right next door, we could share the barbecue and you could have all the burgers you wanted.
Hey, Gina, on other professional terms, I got your message. So I didn't talk to you about this, John, too. We hadn't had a chance to catch up much, but I don't know if she's blocked in our system or if her email has something funky with it on her end. I'm talking about Exact Digital, Kinsey. A couple weeks ago, Gina had asked about her getting back with her. I just sent her a text too, so I'll let you know, Gina. But I have no problem connecting you straight to her. But I wanted to see if she got anything or whatever. But I don't know if maybe her email's having some funky things wrong with it because she actually had. I had a group email between me and her and somebody else, and her emails were not going through. So I don't know what's going on there, but I will get to the bottom of it and let you know. So
Okay, and this is Gina's email?
no, this is Kinsey's from Exact Digital,
Oh,
the
okay,
programmatic
gotcha.
ads partnership, and Gina was waiting for a response back from her and hasn't heard anything. And it's unlike Kinsey to do that. So I would
Yeah.
something I think's going on with her email.
Yeah, and John pinged her via email, and I still haven't heard from her. So I'm wondering, like, if
Okay,
maybe we need to make a phone call because um, something
okay.
wacky is happening. Because we had
Yeah.
a really good consultation, and I'm waiting for her to follow up with me.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
gotta
I can tell you for sure she did follow up. When I pinged her, she followed up and responded to all of us. So she did. That email I know went to you because it came to me and I saw you copied on it.
Oh,
So
I didn't get it. I need to look in my junk.
so that being the case, I think it's probably going to your junk file.
Yeah, because it would happen some another time too. So if it's not Gina, it's something maybe with Kinsey's email too. Because she texted me yesterday evening and said that she's trying to troubleshoot the email situation. She said they
Okay.
haven't came up
So
with a conclusion. So
this goes for anyone that's having deliverability problems. Go to your provider, whoever's providing your email service, and have them check these three things. This has to do with the DNS of your website. You want to make sure that they have a DKIM record in their DNS for that email. Another one is an SPF record. And the last one is a DMARC record, DMARC. If you're missing any of those in your DNS for your website, what's going to happen is when you send an email to another provider, they will see that it's not formatted properly and it'll automatically either reject it, which is the worst case because you don't even know, it just goes into a black hole, or it can be filtered to a spam folder, or if you're in Google, I think they call it promotions folder. So it's really important that any of you that have third-party providers for your email services, those third-party providers have those records, but a lot of times they don't send them to you to update your DNS. So check that first. That's the first line of defense. If you're having trouble getting your emails delivered to somebody, that's going to be your course of action first. If that doesn't fix it, or those records are all in place and they're intact and they're good, if you're still having email deliverability, that probably falls back on your reputation, or the IP itself could be banned or in a spam blocker. So there's spam tools. There's, like, if you go to Google and you put in email deliverability tools, there's some free tools where you can literally just plug in your domain and it'll run a check. I think one of them is MX Toolbox. You can go to MX Toolbox. I think it's .com, but just search it in Google, you'll find it. And you literally put your domain name in, and it'll tell you if there's any spam blocks on your domain. If there is, again, you need to go back to your web host and get them to get those spam blocks lifted, because they'll have to communicate with that reporting place and get that fixed for you. And the other thing is to keep your email reputation up. If you're sending a lot of emails out that are not getting responded to, or you got a bunch of bad, bounces in your email, that can affect your overall reputation of that email on that IP. So again, if like, let's say you're sending a lot of mail into Google's keeping track of your internal reputation with them. So if you have a bunch of bounces, or you're sending to emails that don't exist on their platform, they're going to say, well, this is probably a spammer. We don't want to let their stuff through to our good customers. So we're going to automatically just dump them in the promotionals folder, so it doesn't bother our users with their junk. So that's my 5 minutes on email deliverability. Gina's like, what the hell did he just say?
No, I was reading the email that she sent to me. She did in fact send me an email.
Oh, so you found it in your junk folder?
It was in my junk.
Okay. Well,
So I fetched it out of there, and I was reading through it.
All right. Well, get the junk out of your trunk. Judy, you had your hand up a minute ago. You still have a question?
Yeah, I'm still here. The garbage truck just came, so if it's too loud, let me know. I'll hold it. I sent you a text earlier, but I cannot for the life of me find my affiliate link, and I don't know how to find it on the page. I felt like such a Luddite when I was looking for it.
Oh, no worries. Shoot me an email.
Okay.
At john@internetdominators.com, and I'll look it up for you. Also, tell me which thing you want the promotional links for, like what you're trying to promote, because each different product has a different affiliate link to it.
Okay. Maybe that's the reason why it was single link. Gotcha.
So shoot me an email. I'll get that on the computer. I'll look it up. And when you text that kind of thing, I can't look that up on my phone. So email is best.
Got it.
Awesome.
Hey, John, just in case people aren't paying attention to the chat, Bert, if you can, and then also anybody else, if you guys can send any and all suggestions, whether it's for tutorial videos or Randy, I did tell that to John, so I didn't not tell John. John knew about the ebook thing. He just had more in mind with how you can get it done than I did at the time. But we are talking about other things that we need to do or build out or whatever. So anything you guys can, rather than filling up John's inbox this weekend, because he's going to be on the boat and probably won't respond right away. I have no problem compiling all of that and presenting that to John next week or whatever. But if you guys could be kind and send that over, good, bad, the ugly, I would greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, and kudos to Gina on the process side of things. And what was the product that you created that PDF for?
That was for the white label of Quantum, which is
gotcha.
also the same as the white label for the AIO Dominator.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, it's very long, it's very detailed, but you go through it quick because it's just like,
Exactly, and it's so helpful in trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I literally, everything, I took a screenshot of every step, every click I did, and I put arrows and notes and everything.
Awesome. That's gonna be super helpful.
Yeah, I think it's gonna solve a lot of problems. So cool stuff. And I've heard a lot of positive feedback of like when I was gone, about how well everybody did, how well Brady did and Connie and all that. But you guys made Brady look really bad. You guys did not hold up your part of the bargain here. You made him look really bad by not following his instructions. Because I told him before I left, I said, "Hey, we need testimonials for the Act combo to go into our new promo with ClickBank." And that was his mission and his journey. And I guess he asked for them, but didn't receive any. So, or I guess he got a couple.
I gave him one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't say he didn't get any because
We all knew Gina would.
yeah,
That wasn't a question.
But that would really, I mean, I don't ask for a lot of stuff, but that would really help us out because our copywriter is finishing off the copy for that. Um, so it doesn't have to be, nor should it be real wordy, but just like if you can say like any benefit that you got out, even if it's just one benefit that you've gotten out of either the ACT program itself, or any of the tools in the Quantum Suite, that's all we're looking for. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be a lot of work on your part. Just like, and you can give it to us in any way, shape, or form you want. You can text it, you can email it, you can email me or Brady or put in a support ticket. It's just send them our way because it'll really help us out with this promo. And the copywriter's really breathing down our neck because he's like, yeah, you need testimonials. And normally I don't because I'm usually working to a warm audience, but this is totally different. This is a cold audience. And we're relying on the guys that's their thing. Cold audiences is their thing. And they say they need this to convert. So if you could do that, it would really help us out. All right. Roger that.
Hey, John, you
Not
mentioned
Roger
the
this, Roger
quantum.
that.
It's that. Yep, Roger that. You mentioned the quantum white label PDF. Is that available on the members area?
Yes. Yeah.
Where would one find that?
Should be up there. It should be under the white label tab in the Quantum membership site. It's
Awesome.
not in the
Okay.
Quantum Suite. It's in the membership site that's in ACT for the support of it.
Right.
But if you go in there, there's a white label tab, and it's either, I think there's only two choices. I think it's resources and something else.
Yeah.
It's on one of those.
Perfect. Thank you, John.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, bye.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up? Before we let you guys go to do those fabulous testimonials for us.
Great call. Thank you, John. Blessings, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys all for being here. It was great. And we'll be back normal time next week. So have a great week, and we'll tell you about our adventures from the mastermind at sea. You can stay tuned to find out if we go out in that weather or not, or if we survive. All right, guys, have a great week. We will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.